Zara pressed her back against the cold wall of crumbled stone. Dust filled the air and made her cough. She reached out and gripped her little brother Keon's hand. His green eyes were wide with fear. They were alone in the broken streets of Marana, their homeworld. The city had fallen in a terrible attack. The militia had burned buildings and taken whatever they wanted from the people. Zara and Keon had watched from the shadows as their mother had fallen. They had no time to cry. They had to run. For days they had hidden where no patrols could find them. They slept in dark corners and shared their last piece of stale bread. Each morning, Zara would whisper stories of better days. She told Keon about the gardens of their village, alive with color and singing birds. Keon listened and nodded, though his face stayed pale and thin. He missed their mother's gentle voice. Zara tried to be brave. She tucked her hair behind her ear and stood a little taller. She felt the weight of caring for Keon. He was only 6. She was 9. Today was no different. The sky was gray and heavy. Another patrol might come before nightfall. Zara scanned the ruins for any signs of danger. A tall pillar had fallen near a broken fountain. Rushing water once danced in that fountain. Now it was dry. Zara knelt beside Keon and lifted his chin. "We stay low," she said, touching his cheek gently. "We wait for night. We find food later." Keon swallowed hard. "I'm hungry, Zara." Zara's heart tightened. "I know. We have a little bread left. We save that. Do you remember how Mother baked with honey?" He shook his head. "Only in stories." She smiled softly. "You will remember soon." They did not move from their shelter until footsteps echoed in the distance. Zara counted 3 voices. The soldiers moved slowly, scanning each pile of rubble. Keon trembled. Zara pushed him into a narrow gap between fallen beams. The patrol passed within a few meters but did not see them. Zara held her breath until the soldiers' voices faded away. Then she exhaled and slid out. "This way," she whispered, leading Keon deeper into the broken alleys. Memories of their home before the war faded with each step. Zara did not speak of their parents or the friends they lost. She kept those thoughts locked in her mind. She had to be strong for Keon. They reached a collapsed tower and found a small stream of water that still flowed from broken pipes. Zara scooped water into her cupped hands and helped Keon drink. He drank quickly, then splashed water on his face. Zara watched him quietly, her eyes soft with care. "Are we safe?" he asked after a moment. "For now," she replied. "But we must not stay too long. We need to find shelter and more food before night." Keon's stomach growled. He covered his mouth and looked away. Zara kept walking. She remembered a storage cell near the old marketplace. Maybe there were some unused rations left. They could be old, but better than nothing. The sun began to sink. Shadows stretched across the city. Zara pointed to a nearby archway. "That is the way." They hurried toward the marketplace. Ruined tents and shattered crates lay everywhere. Zara's heart pounded. She held Keon's hand tightly. Then she spotted the storage cell door hanging on its hinges. She pushed it open. Inside, dust-covered crates of supplies. She lifted a crate lid and found dried food packets and water pouches. Relief washed over her face. She quickly grabbed what they needed and stuffed them into her satchel. "We have more now," she said, offering a packet to Keon. He took it and unwrapped the packet. The smell was strange but warm. He took a bite. His eyes lit up. He chewed slowly. "It's good." Zara smiled, then heard a distant hum. It sounded like engines. She froze. "Keon, come here." She pulled him behind a stack of crates. A bright light moved across the open square. Zara peeked around the crates and saw a ship overhead. It was not the militia's design. It had smooth wings and a gentle hum. Zara had only seen human ships in old stories. The ship descended and landed on the cracked stones. A ramp extended. Zara's heart raced. "Who are they?" Keon whispered. "I do not know." Zara whispered back. She watched 2 figures step out. One was tall and wore a crisp uniform. The other wore a white suit and carried a medical bag. Zara studied them, trying to remember any human details from her stories. Humans had different skin colors and shapes. These two humans seemed calm. Zara's mind raced. She could run away and remain hidden, but Kian was hungry and tired. Zara's duty was to protect him. She had to decide. Before she could act, the tall human spoke into a small device and called out, "Search the cell near Sector 5. We need survivors." The medic hesitated. Then he followed the other human. They moved toward the cell. Zara gripped Kian's hand. Now they would be discovered. She felt a cold wave of fear. She thought of their mother's gentle smile. She thought of Kian's small face. She had to protect him. Zara stood and stepped from behind the crates. Kian looked at her with wide eyes. "Zara, no," she held up a hand. "It will be okay, just ... Trust me." She placed a food packet in Kian's hand. "Hold this." The humans rounded the corner. The tall one spotted Zara first. "Hey, you there!" He pointed a small device at them. Zara froze. Kian backed up. The medic ran forward. Zara saw kindness in his eyes. He knelt down slowly and raised both hands. "Easy, kid." "We are not here to hurt you." Zara stared, unsure. The tall human lowered his device. "We are here to help," Kian whimpered. Zara felt his small hand tremble in hers. She swallowed hard and took a breath. She took a small step forward. The medic stood and held out water. "Here, drink." Kian looked at Zara. Zara nodded. He took the water and drank quickly. The medic smiled. "Good," Zara said in a soft voice. "We are hungry." The tall human watched them closely. "We have food. You can come with us?" Zara looked at the medicines and water. She thought of Kian's face. She thought of the militia patrols. She made her choice. "Okay," she whispered. The humans helped them to their feet. The medic gave Zara a small cloth to wipe her face. The tall human offered his hand. Zara let him guide her and Kian to the ramp. As they boarded the ship, Zara looked back at the broken city. She felt sorrow for what was lost, but she felt hope too. She held Kian close and took a steady breath. Perhaps this human kindness would bring a new start. The ramp closed. The engines hummed softly. Zara took one last look at Kian. He had fallen asleep standing up. She smiled gently. She would keep him safe. She would learn to trust. And she would remember this moment. The ship lifted off, carrying them away from fear and toward something new. The ship's interior glowed with soft lights. Zara held Kian's hand as they stepped off the ramp. The floor was clean and smooth under their bare feet. They saw rows of seats and small tables. The tall human led them through a hallway. Zara felt a mix of fear and wonder. "This way," he said. "I am Commander Lucas Carter. This is Captain Lily Hayes. We will take care of you." Kian looked up at Lucas. His voice was calm and gentle. Zara felt a little safer. They followed Lucas down the hall. Lily smiled and held out a packet of dried fruit. "Here, try some of this." Kian hesitated. He took the packet. He tasted a piece and his eyes lit up. He ate more quickly. Zara smiled. Lily nodded. Lucas guided them to a small room. It had 2 chairs and a blanket on the floor. On a table, there were water pouches and food packets. Zara and Kian sat on the blanket. Lucas closed the door behind them. "You are safe here," he said. "No one will hurt you." Zara looked at Kian and whispered, "Drink water first." They drank. Lucas and Lily watched them kindly. The ship shuddered as it lifted. Zara felt her stomach twist. She clutched Kian's hand. "It's okay," Lucas said. "We are leaving the planet. We will find a safe place." Zara nodded and tried to be brave. After the ship became steady, Lucas left them and returned with small blankets. He gave one to each child. "You might be cold or sleepy," he said. "Rest if you like." Kian lay down and closed his eyes. Zara watched him. She looked around and saw a small window. Outside was darkness. She heard quiet footsteps and saw Lily enter with a small tray. "I brought soup," Lily said softly. "It is warm." Zara accepted the bowl. She sipped slowly. The warmth spread in her chest. Lily sat on the chair and watched her. "Your names are special," Lily said. "Zara and Kian? They mean hope and light?" Zara looked at Kian. She felt tears in her eyes. Yes, we are hope and light. Lily smiled. You are brave. Zara finished the soup. She felt tired. She placed the bowl on a small table. Kian stirred and opened his eyes. He sat up and smiled at Zara. Thank you, he said. Zara patted his back. She looked at Lucas and Lily. They seemed gentle. Zara felt cautious trust. Lucas stood by the door. We will do some checks to make sure you are healthy. Is that okay? Zara nodded. She felt too tired to say no. Lucas and Lily left. The ramp opened later. Zara looked at Kian. He seemed curious. She led him out into a larger room. There were other humans in uniform. They nodded as Zara passed. She felt awkward and shy. A woman in a blue suit approached. Hello, I am Nurse Elena. I will check your vitals. Zara sat on the bed. Kian sat on her lap. Nurse Elena measured their height and weight. She checked their heartbeats and gave them a gentle pat. You are both in good condition, she said. Just rest for now. Zara felt relief. Kian leaned against her. Zara felt tired in her arms. Nurse Elena smiled. You can stay here until we reach our station. Then we will find a home for you. Zara looked at Kian's calm face. She felt hope. They returned to their room. Zara sat on the blanket. Kian lay down again. Zara wrapped the blanket around him and lay beside him. Outside, the engines hummed quietly. The ship was steady. Zara closed her eyes. She thought of the cold ruins they left behind. She thought of the kindness of these humans. She felt a small smile. When she opened her eyes, Lucas was there with a small toy. It was a wooden carving of a bird. He held it out. This is for you, he said. It is from Earth. Zara took the toy. It was smooth and warm in her hand. She turned it over. The bird's wings were spread as if flying. It is beautiful, she said quietly. Lucas nodded. It is. It reminds us of freedom. Zara pressed the bird toy to her chest. She thought of her past fear and loss. She whispered, Thank you. Lucas smiled and left. Zara watched him go. She looked at Kian. He was sleeping peacefully. Zara felt protective love. She cradled the toy and whispered stories from her childhood. She told him about flying birds and singing trees. Kian smiled in his sleep. Zara closed her eyes too. She fell into a deep slumber. When she woke, the room was brighter. Light filled the space from a panel above. She sat up and saw Lucas standing. We are approaching our station, he said. We will be landing soon. Zara helped Kian to sit. He rubbed his eyes and stretched. Zara packed their satchel carefully, including the toy bird. The ship shuddered, and the lights dimmed. The walls glowed orange. Zara felt her heart race. Kian held her hand. A voice said, Prepare for landing. Zara held Kian close. She felt his small body tremble with excitement and fear. The ramp opened to a bright platform. Zara squinted against the light. Lucas and Lily guided them down. The platform was clean and safe. Fresh air blew softly. Welcome to New Hope Station, Lucas said. This is your new home for now. Zara looked at the tall metal halls and the people all around. They walked slowly. Kian hugged the toy bird. Lily spoke softly. We have volunteers who will help you. You can rest and learn to live here. You are safe. Zara glanced at Kian and then at the station. She felt hope bloom in her chest. She took a deep breath and nodded. We are safe, she said. They followed Lily into the station. Zara held Kian's hand tightly. She felt courage rise inside her. Together they walked toward a new life, knowing strangers could become family through kindness and care. Morning light filtered through the thin curtains of the small room. Zara sat on the edge of the bed and watched Kian sleep. His gentle breathing rose and fell. She touched his hair and reminded herself to stay strong for him. Today would be different. They were safe in New Hope Station. Kind people were here to help. Zara rose quietly and stepped into the hallway. Soft floor panels warmed her feet. She followed a gentle hum to the dining hall. She paused at the door and peeked inside. Long tables held trays of fresh fruit, bread, and warm porridge. Children of different worlds sat quietly while volunteers served them. A woman in a blue apron waved. Zara, come join us. Zara took a deep breath and entered. She smiled at a boy with blue skin eating an apple slice. He waved back. Zara chose a bowl of porridge and sat beside him. The volunteer handed her a spoon and placed a plate of fruit before Kian. "Good morning, you two," the volunteer said kindly. "Try the fruit, it will taste sweet." Kian took a slice of orange and bit into it. His eyes brightened. "It is sweet." Zara ate porridge slowly. She looked around and saw families of humans talking softly. Some children laughed. The station felt alive. Zara felt a small spark of happiness. They finished breakfast and followed a teacher to a large room. Bright pictures of planets and stars hung on the walls. A board at the front read, "Welcome, class." Zara and Kian sat on small chairs. Other children sat beside them. The teacher, a gentle woman with silver hair, smiled. "Good morning, I am Professor Mara. Today we learn words of compassion and sharing." She wrote simple human words on the board. Friend, help, share, safe. Zara recognized help and share from Lucas and Lily. She felt proud. The children sounded the words together. Friend, help, share. "Now," Professor Mara said, "turn to a friend and share something about yourself." Children whispered. The blue-skinned boy leaned toward Zara. "I am Miko. I like music." Zara stood and said softly, "I am Zara. I protect my brother." She pointed at Kian. His cheeks turned red. He said, "I am Kian. I like orange." The class smiled and clapped. Zara felt warmth spread inside. She sat down and squeezed Kian's hand. The lesson continued with songs and drawings. Zara drew two figures holding hands under a tree and labeled it friend. After class, Lucas found them and offered his hand. "We have time to explore. Wood. You like to see the garden?" Zara looked at Kian. He nodded. They followed Lucas through bright corridors. They reached a dome filled with plants. Flowers bloomed in many colors and shapes. A small fountain bubbled in the center. Birds sang from perches. Lucy knelt beside Zara. "This is a reminder of home gardens. Take your time." Zara breathed in the fresh scent. She touched a soft petal. She felt calm. Kian laughed as a small bird flew low and perched on his shoulder. He petted it gently. Zara watched him smile, a sight she had not seen in a long time. After a moment, Lily appeared with small trays of juice. "This is fruit nectar from Earth. It tastes light." Zara tasted the juice and closed her eyes. "It is good," Lily smiled. "We grow fruit here too. Someday we can share trees with you." Zara felt hope for the future. Later they returned to their room. Zara sat and thought about the lessons and the garden. She felt tired but happy. She watched Kian draw pictures from the day. She realized this station gave them a chance to heal. Night fell, and the lights changed to soft green. Zara helped Kian brush his teeth. She tucked him into bed. Kian yawned and closed his eyes. Zara sat on the bed and read a small pamphlet Lucas had given her. It was a guide to station life. She saw pictures of humans, animals, and machines. She learned words like medicine, sleep, and dream. She placed the pamphlet on the table and lay beside Kian. She touched the wooden bird toy. She whispered, "We are safe. We can live again." She closed her eyes. In her dreams, she saw the ruins of Morana fade into the bright gardens of the station. She felt her mother's arms warm around her. She heard laughter instead of cries. She awoke with a start as the ship's night cycle ended with soft chimes. Zara sat up. Kian stirred. She checked the time on a small clock. Morning would come soon. She touched her heart and felt both sorrow and joy. When light returned, Zara helped Kian with breakfast and class. Each day followed a gentle routine of lessons, games, and rest. Zara learned new words and made friends. Kian learned too. They laughed often. One afternoon, Lucas invited them to his quarters. Zara felt curious. They walked down a quiet hallway and entered a room filled with books and models of stars. Lucas motioned them to sit. "I want to show you something," he said. Opening a map projector, stars appeared on the wall. "This is the Milky Way. Your world is here. Someday you can see it for real." Zara stared at the glowing stars. She asked softly, "Will we visit Earth?" Lucas nodded. One day, yes, when you are ready. Zara smiled. Her heart warmed. She looked at Kian. He grabbed her hand. The days turned into weeks. Zara and Kian grew stronger. They learned to trust humans. They found joy in simple things. Warm soup, soft beds, and kind words, yet Zara never forgot Morana. She kept her memories safe but not heavy. She knew she carried her past to build her future. Part 3 ended with Zara standing in the garden under glowing lights. She held Kian's hand. She looked up at the stars on the dome above. She knew that fear no longer ruled their lives. Kindness had shown them a new path. The day began with warm light shining through the dome. Zara and Kian stepped into the hall where children gathered for activities. A red alarm light suddenly blinked and a soft siren rang. Zara felt her heart beat fast. Lily appeared and said, "Stay calm and come with me." She led them to a safety room. Inside, the walls had padded panels and soft mats. Other children huddled together. Zara knelt beside Kian and whispered, "It is okay. They will keep us safe." Kian nodded, but his hands trembled. Lily closed the heavy door and pressed a button. Outside, Zara heard heavy footsteps and distant shouts. The room shook slightly. Zara hugged Kian close. She remembered the ruins of Morana and felt fear rising. But she clenched her fist and told Kian, "We are safe here with friends." Kian leaned into her and whispered, "I trust you, Zara." Zara smiled and wiped his tears. She thought of Lucas. He would protect them. After a few minutes, the door opened, and Lucas stood there. His face was serious but calm. "Come with me," he said softly. They followed Lucas through a hallway. The station lights flickered as they passed. Volunteers and guards moved quickly but did not panic. Lucas led them to a control room where screens showed outside corridors. Human defenders fired glowing beams at dark shapes moving near the station. Entrance. Lily stood by a console. She pointed at the screen. "These are militia drones. They found our location. They want to capture survivors for ransom." Zara watched the tiny machines advance. She felt anger for what they had done to her home. She looked at Kian and saw his fear. She swallowed hard. Lucas spoke to a guard, and the guard moved children deeper inside the station. Lucas then knelt before Zara and said, "I need your help. Can you deliver this message to the safe zone?" Zara felt surprised. She held Kian's hand. "Yes," she said. She took the small datapad Lucas gave her. The message contained coordinates for a hidden shelter. Lucas put a hand on her shoulder. "Be careful, stay low, and follow the markers on the wall. Lily will show you the path." Zara nodded. She touched Kian's arm. "We can do this." Kian looked up at her bravely. "Together?" Lily guided them into a service tunnel behind the control room. The lights were dim and the walls metal cold to the touch. Lily pointed to arrows painted on the floor. "Follow these to reach the shelter. Then find the main gate and deliver the pad." She knelt and hugged Zara. "You are both very brave." Zara squeezed Kian's hand. She led him forward. They saw sparks outside as defenders fought the drones. Zara felt fear but pressed on. Water dripped from pipes above. Dust covered the floor. Kian held the pad tightly. The tunnel forked. "Zara, read a sign that glowed faintly. Safe zone 50 meters. She pointed and they moved left. The sound of conflict faded behind them. They came to a bulkhead door. A guard in armor stood there. He scanned the pad and nodded. The door hissed. "Open." Zara and Kian hurried inside. The door closed behind them. The safe zone was a large chamber with supplies and medical beds. A group of volunteers gathered. Zara saw Nurse Elena tending to injured defenders. She waved and smiled. Zara felt relief. Elena called out, "The message?" Zara stepped forward and held out the pad. A young officer took it and plugged it into a console. He read the data and his eyes lit with hope. "These coordinates will help us reroute power to the secondary shields. If we activate them, we can keep the drones out." He turned and ordered technicians to prepare. The room buzzed with activity. Zara and Kian walked to a corner where volunteers offered water and food. Kian drank a pouch of juice. Zara ate a piece of bread. She felt exhausted. Lily came to them. Thank you for your help. You saved the station. Zara shook her head. We only did what Lucas asked. Lily smiled and ruffled Zara's hair. That took courage. You both showed bravery beyond your years. Lucas entered the room. He walked to Zara and knelt. I am proud of you. You helped save many lives today. Zara felt pride warm her chest. Kian stood beside her and smiled. Lucas stood and addressed the group. We have power to the secondary shields. Drones will not break through now. Prepare to push them back. The room cheered. Zara watched with wide eyes as defenders rushed out. Lily stayed with the children. The door to the tunnel opened and Zara and Kian helped comfort a wounded volunteer who passed by. The battle ended by nightfall. The station was secure once more. The hallways glowed with steady lights. Volunteers cleaned the corridors. Zara and Kian walked with Lucas and Lily to their room. Inside, Zara sat on the bed and rubbed her head where Lily had ruffled her hair. She felt ache from the day's fear and running. Kian lay down and closed his eyes. Zara sat beside him and touched his hair. She thought of Marana's ruins and how they survived. She touched the wooden bird toy Lucas had given her. She whispered, "No one will hurt us now." Kian opened his eyes and whispered back, "Because we have friends." Zara smiled and lay down. She closed her eyes and thought of warm lights instead of cold stone. She fell asleep, holding the bird toy close. In her dreams, she saw new gardens. Under the station dome, children playing together, and humans and aliens sharing laughter. She felt safe and hopeful. When she woke, morning light brightened the room. Kian sat beside her with a small sketch. He had drawn the battle and their journey. Zara studied the picture and nodded in pride. They prepared for breakfast. Zara felt stronger than before. She knew fear would return sometimes, but kindness and courage would always guide her. She held Kian's hand as they walked into a new day filled with promise and friendship. The path from New Hope Station to the human colony on planet Arcadia was long. Zara and Kian traveled in a convoy of cargo ships and transport shuttles. Zara pressed her face to the window of the transport pod. Stars rolled past as the ship jumped. Through hyperspace, she squeezed Kian's hand. He watched too, eyes wide. How much longer? Kian asked. Zara looked at the small timer display. It showed 6 hours. She offered him a pouch of dried fruit. Not too long. Try this. He took a piece and chewed. It is good. Zara smiled. She remembered her first taste of fruit on the ship. To New Hope Station, it felt like a gift. She slipped the pouch into her SATL. The pod shook and lights flickered. An alarm beeped softly. Zara and Kian tumbled as the pod slowed. Zara steadied them both. A voice over the intercom said, "We have entered Arcadia's atmosphere. Commencing landing sequence." The pod vibrated and the window showed blue skies and orange clouds. Zara settled into the seat. She felt nervous about the new world. Kian looked at her. "It is okay," she said. The pod landed with a gentle thud. The door opened and fresh air streamed in. Zara and Kian stepped onto soft green grass under a bright sun. They blinked against the light. A group of children and adults waited with smiles. Some held banners that read, "Welcome home." Zara saw signs for aid workers, teachers, and families ready to host new arrivals. Lily and Lucas stood together with other volunteers. Lily waved and called, "Welcome to Arcadia, Zara, Kian." Zara and Kian ran to them. Lily knelt and hugged them. Both, Lucas handed each child a small packet of seeds. "These are Arcadian seeds. Plant them with hope." He smiled. Zara took the seeds and felt their weight. Kian examined his seeds. They were small, bright spheres. Zara pictured growing gardens here, like in her memories. Lucas led them to a transport vehicle painted in green and white. "We will take you to your foster home." Inside the vehicle, Zara watched forests and fields go by. Kian slept on her shoulder. Zara felt a breeze through the open window. They arrived at a small home with a porch. A woman stood at the door. She held a basket of fruit. "Hello, I'm Sarah Monroe. I will care for you both until we find a permanent home." Zara stepped forward. "Thank you," Sarah smiled. "Come inside. I have a warm meal ready." The house was cozy. Soft rugs covered the floor and pictures hung on the walls. A fireplace crackled. Zara helped Kian down and took Sarah's hand. They sat at a wooden table with bowls of stew and bread. The stew smelled of spices. Zara tasted it and savored the warm flavor. Kian ate quietly, watching Sarah. "Do you like it?" Sarah asked. Kian nodded. "It is good," Zara smiled. "Thank you." After the meal, Sarah showed them their room. 2 beds with quilts and a window overlooking a garden filled with young plants. Sarah handed Zara a watering can. "These are Arcadian flowers I planted. Would you help care for them?" Zara looked at the flowers and then at Sarah. "Yes." Kian watched as Zara gently moved plants and poured water. Sarah showed them how to tend roots and clear weeds. Zara felt peace in the garden. Days passed. Zara and Kian settled into Sarah's home. They helped in the garden, attended local school classes, and learned Arcadian customs. Zara found a notebook and drew pictures of her journey, the ruined city, the human station, and this new home. One evening, Sarah sat with them on the porch. Fireflies danced in the dusky light. "Do you miss Morana?" she asked softly. Zara looked at the distant hills. "I do, but Morana is in our hearts. Here we can build a new life." Kian smiled. "I like it here." Sarah nodded. "I'm glad. You are part of our family now." Zara felt warmth. She held Kian's hand and touched the seeds in her pocket. "Tomorrow, we plant these seeds together," she said. Kian's eyes lit up. "Yes." At dawn, Zara and Kian walked to the garden. The sky was pink. Sarah gave them a small spade each. Zara dug holes and placed seeds gently. Kian covered his seeds and patted the soil. "Grow strong," Zara whispered. Sarah sprinkled water. The garden shimmered with life. Zara looked at Kian. He grinned. She saw hope in his eyes. She touched the wooden bird toy Lucas had given her. She whispered, "This kindness grows like these seeds." Part 5 ends with Zara and Kian planting seeds under Arcadia's sun, symbolizing new beginnings and the power of human kindness to transform fear into hope. Sunlight poured through the tall windows of the Arcadia Community Center. Zara and Kian stood at the front with several other children. Today was a special day, the day of new beginnings. People from all walks of life gathered to celebrate how far the survivors had come since the fall of Morana and other worlds. Zara adjusted the small wooden bird toy pinned to her shirt. She felt the weight of her journey in her chest, the ruined city, the kindness of Lucas and Lily, the safe station, and the loving home with Sarah. Now, she would stand before the crowd and speak. A gentle voice announced, "Next is Zara and Kian Morgan." Zara glanced at Kian. He wore a wide smile and squeezed her hand. They walked to the stage, where a banner read, "Welcome to our new family." A volunteer handed Zara a small microphone. She took a deep breath and remembered her mother's voice guiding her to be brave. She looked at the audience, humans, aliens, volunteers, families. She pictured the flowers she and Kian planted, the seeds growing under Arcadia's sun. Zara began, her voice clear. "When I was 9, my world fell. My brother and I were alone." She paused, holding back tears. She saw nodding faces and kind eyes. Kian stepped forward. "We knew only fear," Zara nodded. "We hid among ruins. We had nothing but hope." The crowd listened quietly. Zara looked at Kian and continued. "Then humans found us. They did not carry weapons. They offered food, water, and shelter." Kian added softly, "They gave us kindness." Zara felt tears glisten. "That kindness saved us and our faith in others. It showed us a new path." The audience applauded softly. Zara smiled and concluded, "We will remember our home, but we will build a future filled with love and hope. Thank you for giving us a second chance." They stepped off the stage and joined the celebration. Music filled the hall as people danced and laughed. Zara and Kian moved through the crowd, greeted by friends and families. Sarah hugged them both. "I am so proud of you," she whispered. Lucas and Lily approached, their faces bright. Lucas knelt and hugged Zara. Lily hugged Kian. "You both make the universe better." Lucas said. Zara blushed and looked at the wooden bird on her shirt. She whispered, "It guided us." After the ceremony, Zara and Kian walked to the garden behind the center. The seeds they planted months ago now sprouted into small green shoots. Butterflies danced among the flowers. The air was sweet with blossoms. Zara knelt and touched a young plant. She imagined it growing tall, reaching for the sun. Kian placed his hand next to hers. "We grew too," he said. Zara smiled and picked up a small spade. She dug a tiny hole for a new flower bulb. Kian helped her plant it carefully. They covered it with soil and pressed gently. They sat quietly and watched the garden. Zara spoke softly. "This is what kindness can do. It helps life to start again." Kian nodded. "And we will care for it." Zara reached into her pocket and pulled out the seeds Lucas had given her on their first arrival to Arcadia. She held them in her hand. "We should share these seeds with others," she said. Kian looked at the seeds and then at the garden. "Yes, we will spread hope." They gathered seeds in small pouches and walked back to the celebration. Zara offered seed pouches to new friends, children and adults alike. Each pouch carried a promise of renewal. As the sun set, countless pouches passed through hands and laughter echoed in the air. Lanterns glowed along the pathways. Zara and Kian stood together, hands intertwined, watching their friends carry seeds toward new gardens. Night fell, and lanterns swayed in the breeze. Zara looked up at the stars visible above the Arcadia dome. Each star reminded her of Lucas's map in the station, representing a world waiting to be known. Zara whispered, "One day we will travel to those stars." Kian looked at her with bright eyes. "Together." Zara squeezed his hand and smiled. She felt hope stronger than fear, and a future filled with friendship and growth. Under the starlit sky, two orphaned hearts from Marana knew only kindness from then on. Their journey had ended its hardest chapter. A new story had just begun, a story where kindness blooms and fear fades away.